Spud, for the next year, you're only allowed to listen to music from America or music from the UK. What are you doing?
America, all day long.
Really? No Zeppelin?
Yeah. Fuck the Brits, man.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I think my actual answer is I think I would go with the British over the American, because there's just
God, it's a good one now. Yeah. See, Led Zeppelin would clinch it.
Queen, Depeche Mode,
Queen are shite. I don't like
the
Queen.
Beatles.
Have been more of a Stones than Beatles now.
Well, the Stones, you can't have that.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, can't have that.
So
either.
literally, you'd be listening to Pearl Jam for a year. Is that what
I'd only be listening to grunge. It'd be Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, a bit of I don't know, Dead Kennedys or Green Day or something. And yeah, that'd be it. It'd be the 1990s all over again.
Not
getting
Brit
depressed,
Popkin,
I'd be trying to kill myself and then not doing it because I didn't want mommy and daddy to feel ashamed. You know, they wouldn't have just. What am I on about? You make me say too many secret things.
I literally asked you a question about music.
I know, yeah. You're fucking secretly doing sigils there or something. Make Spud talk. Come here, did you ever drink so much that your penis gets smaller the next day?
Jesus, no. Like you drink alcohol, dehydration.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I drank far too much whiskey.
Just point out that you brought that up all on your own. None of my sigils were involved in that.
I can't ask Aga and I can't ask me ma. You know, they weren't even drinking yesterday. But like, I was like, they weren't drinking, so I'm like, well, fucking go and show yous what I'm made of. Yeah.
Right? Are you hungover as fuck now, yeah?
I was this morning. I'm not too bad. The mind is willing, but the body is weak.
I hate that.
And the mind is getting weaker. I don't know what. I woke up this morning like full of beans. I was like, yes, loads
drunk.
of energy. And then, yeah. And then it hit me. Just went, oh no, Monday. Like Garfield. Remember Garfield used to hate Mondays? Yeah. And then there was Monday the 13th. Would happen once a year as well. That was a great comic strip.
So you okay now? Like, is your penis the normal size shape? Length,
no, it still hasn't come back properly. I don't know what's wrong.
Imagine it doesn't.
Oh my God. I could leave me. She would, yeah. She said that before about me.
How did that?
Fuck, what am I going to do? You have to go one of those bottle things that they look really painful.
The pump things, is it?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why? Like, just, whoa. I don't know.
And they don't work, allegedly. Most people use them just for masturbation rather than extension. There was a program on, or a documentary about a guy. I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but I bet he was going around doing all the different remedies and all the different cures, whatever, to get a bigger penis. And there was one point where he's like, I don't know, it's in some mad country anyhow, and he's going to get these injections and going through the whole thing or whatever, and he's just about to go in, and he goes, oh, hold on, what the fuck am I doing? I goes, no!
Hey, wasn't there something with W.B. Yeats and like ape testicles or something, monkey testicles?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't find that really conclusive on it, but I've been looking into the Golden Dawn stuff because
why not?
Why not? Well, no, I think as a group and kind of what they were trying to do is really interesting. They were trying to get just all magic or occult teachings from all over the world and put it all together into one thing. So I mean, it's not that different from the lady who we're going to talk about later, like Theosophy, and like, there's you can find certain things that say that he wanted more virility, you know, because he wasn't a very manly man, like, you know, he really wasn't, like. So there was this kind of treatment being spoken about during his time of getting like. Getting the semen of apes put in there to make it more manly. But it's like, why would you want monkey jizz?
I assume it's the kind of thing of that there's more testosterone for us, and being that testosterone was created in the scrotal area. And pee is also stored there, it seems.
Yeah. Just go all out and just get like alligator jizz or fucking...
Again, I would say it's because, we're nearly monkeys, aren't we? So that's more likely to be work for me than some alligator who's not. Yeah. I don't know. You do hear some mad stuff, particularly if you ever get into them weightlifting and stuff like that. There's like loads of stuff, things people do like that. It's crazy stuff, like to up their testosterone.
Yeah. There's some stories that allege that he had them sewed onto his chest. Now,
the more you talk about this, the more I've heard stories like this. I don't know if it was about him, but like, there's definitely.
Could you imagine going around with 2 monkey balls on your chest, just swinging away there as you're jogging? Like,
and then, like, I mean, obviously they're going to start rotting because, you know, like, I'm going to, the smell. Not only fresh monkey balls, I'm sure smell bad, but imagine decomposing monkey balls.
Why weren't we taught about this when we were doing English in secondary school? You know,
because they were trying to turn us into factory workers, not
factory workers. Yeah. I was expecting, because you know Seamus is recovering from his heart attack. I was expecting him to have a kind of a, you know, a Patrick Kavanagh comes back to life and just he has his lung transplant, he becomes a new man and sees the wonder of the world and writes just amazing poetry from then on, because everything before that was just misery and hate. Yeah. So I said to Seamus, are you having a Patrick Kavanagh moment? He's like, I am, my fuck.
Oh well. Maybe it takes a while to kick in or something. I don't know.
So what's new in Tommie land?
Nothing. Not really much. Like, everywhere has gone completely as if Corona was never an incident. We have a new Taoiseach who, I don't know, like, I mean, did anyone want him? I don't know.
I don't really understand how Ireland's political system works anymore. Because the parties, no one voted for these parties, yet they're allowed to have a coalition together. Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, and they're bitter enemies, obviously. Oh, man, I don't know. Also, my uncle was diagnosed with coronavirus. He was in, he's fine now, he's over it. He was in the hospital. And while he was in the hospital, he was listening to news telling the country that there was no one with coronavirus in that particular hospital.
Anyway, I should have been on to Joe Duffy. Why didn't he get on to Joe Duffy? That would have been hilarious.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not, unless it meant new cases or something, but it's hard to know. It's funny. Yeah, but the most kind of thing is that no one cares anymore. It's completely and utterly back to work. Or not back to normal. Everyone's back to work since today's phase 3, is it 4? Whatever.
Yeah, I already have photos of people in pubs.
Oh, do you? Well,
yeah.
They're not meant to open for another 3 weeks. How dare you? And yeah, we're doing the only kind of thing we're really kind of focusing on is this. There's going to be a 2-week period check of every time we allow people into the country, and if it picks up again, then we're stopping people coming into the country. Which essentially means that no one from America or the UK, unless they're doctors and we need them, are allowed into the country. Which is fine, and you go, right, I understand that and all that. So all they have to do is just fly into Belfast and drive down here.
And drive down. Yeah. There's always a fucking loophole, isn't there? You know?
Yeah, that's that massive loophole that is the Northern Irish border.
Yeah, America's still fucked though.
Oh yeah, man, that's bad. Yeah,
that is bad.
Yeah. There's it's like the Trump thing, not the hark on, like, I mean, because it's such easy pickings, but like that whole thing of let's stop testing people because too many people are coming out as having it. Like really
smart.
Yeah. Well, I understand his thinking. Like, it's good for him not to test people, but not good for the country. Like,
I wonder when he's done, is he going to see like a big boost in his business and his hotels and his failed colleges and failed steaks and whatever else he's failed at? Sex with hookers.
Yeah, I don't know what. Like, that photo of him coming back from his rally is probably the most defeated I've seen him. Like, it was pretty bad. Like, and then didn't Biden do the exact same photo or something? Then the next day, looking fit and healthy and going, hey.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to look fit and healthy. He's like 1,000,000 years old or something, isn't he?
Yeah,
and he's a fucking weirdo sniffing girls and stuff.
Yeah. He was the only time he was really fun was those Obama Biden memes. Remember them? They were funny.
Yeah. They
only
were
funny
good,
because it's ridiculous. But then you go, oh, maybe that's true. That's all memes become reality. I don't know. You see, like that bit where you've seen footage, and I know you can cherry pick all this kind of footage, whatever, but stuff we can't remember is his own name or what he's doing, and all that just seems. But Ronald Reagan spent 2 years with no brain as president as well, and no one cared. It was fine. That's not quite fair to all.
Hey, which one was into the occult? Wasn't Reagan was into the occult?
Reagan was. Well, he was into. So was Trump. Like, not necessarily a cult, but that new thought, that positive thinking, law of attraction, Neville Goddard type stuff. Not necessarily Neville Goddard, but the new thought movement. He was big into it, and he had an astrologer, Reagan, that he would consult and wouldn't do things unless it was. And
it has nothing to do with being married to Alistair Crowley's daughter.
Well, is that provable?
Yeah, man, of course it's provable. Exhumer.
Yeah.
See, the problem with the world is there aren't enough exhumations.
Yeah.
Exemptions?
But then I suppose you'd
Exemptions.
have to Assumption Crowley as well. And,
Yeah. Come on, let's do it. Why
No,
not?
with the amount of cakes of light that knocking around, there's definitely enough Crowley DNA to be able to test.
Oh yeah, I have. I was telling you, I'm reading the living Telema or living Telema, as the Yanks say it, book from your man Schumacher. It's very good, but I know that the period cakes and the semen shakes are coming. I know they're coming.
Steven Chicks.
Because he's already mentioned a bit about sex magic. So it's like, yeah, okay, it's coming.
Well, you have to remember that Stephen May said in Stealing with Fire that eating your own sperm is obviously a superior thing to do once you do it once. So I think one of your 30-day challenges, Spud, is that you should have a cake of light every day for 30 days. And just explain to me the superiorness.
How magic I feel. Well, the last couple of days I've been drinking banana juice. It's made an improvement. And then next week do pineapple juice. Tomato juice would probably be fairly mank. I think that's supposed to be true. Rum is supposed to make it taste the worst.
Oh, right.
This is what I've heard from various lady women that I have frequented. That sounds awful. That didn't even say that. I have spoken about with women. Talk about dicks a lot. Far more than we think they do. Than they let on to as well. They all think they're innocent. Oh, look at me, I'm a woman in my flowery dress. And really they're just like dick.
Oh well.
Sorry, ladies.
I'm sorry if it's true. I'm going to be sorry if you're wrong. I was reading, well, this is a lie. I was listening to Brett Anderson's, who's the singer from Suede. He's two autobiographies. One, which is just up until the point where Suede gets signed, and then the second one is from when they're signed. Because the first one he's going, I will never write a book about the whole thing of Suede because it's so boring and everyone has done, everyone has written that book, blah blah blah. And so he starts the second book. I was always going to write this book, wasn't I? I don't know.
I was offering a book of the cash, lads.
But it's like the whole way through, he drops that. Oh, and I was reading Diary of a Drug Fiend, which is a Crowley novel, and I was going, oh, that's interesting. And then he goes in, got into Golden Dawn or whatever, the whole thing. But he pronounces Crowley, and I was going to slap him. I was shouting at Brett Anderson. Oh, come on, man.
Oh, he reads it himself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's mad. Isn't it funny? I got the Grant Morrison's book, the Super Gods one, and he doesn't read it, which I thought was mad.
Yeah, I found that very... it could have been...
Maybe he just can't read.
So much better.
So.
Maybe he can't read. That would be very weird. Well, he does. He draws all the scripts. He doesn't know. Well, he does type them out then. Yeah, and it's like there's something about an audiobook, a biography in particular, that if it's not read by the author, it just it doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Although Robert Anton Wilson's did audiobooks of what do you call it? That his why my brain not work? They're just here. It's Cosmic Trigger. Oh my God, my brain. And so, but they got a guy to do an impression of him, and he does it really well. And he's the guy who actually played him in a play and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's quite good. It's not the same because like Robert Anton Wilson has a very unique particular voice that you're not going to. But it works in as much as doing a posthumous kind of audiobook. But like Duff McKagan has a book out and he doesn't read it, so I'll not.
And there's no way he can read.
No. But I got Flea's audiobook the other day and I will read it.
What's that like?
Well, I don't know. I'm still in Brett Anderson territory, but he reads it himself, so that that it should be.
Did you see the clip on Reddit today of Guns N' Roses? Because they're back together, aren't they?
Did they kind of not?
Yeah, I think there's something going on. It's from a concert anyway, and Slash is like front and center doing his pose, doing a big 15-minute solo, and Axel just kind of gets the mic and just goes, okay, just kind of walks up to Duff, puts his hand on Duff's shoulders. Duff kind of stops as well and just like hums one string. And then the other fellow, I have no idea what his name is, he comes over there. So they're all kind of standing there, start crossing their arms and they're like, come on, Slash, will you, for fuck's sake. Like.
And is it legit or is it like a stage thing? Or is it
I know, they were messing like. Yeah,
right.
But it's good. That's good that there's banter and crack between them,
I also listened to Alec James, bass player from Blur, his two books. The first one's about Blur and the second one's about being a farmer. And the farmer one, the cheese farmer, it's really, really interesting that I would never have listened to other than it was Alec James and, there's bits of Blur.
And boob cheese.
And what?
Boob cheese.
The cheese, yeah.
Boob cheese.
Boob cheese.
Yeah.
But it's very good. I'd say you'd enjoy it. You don't like Blur, do you? Or do you?
Blur, I'm not mad about them. I like the later stuff when they got away from the Britpop stuff. See, like...
Yeah, so do they, though.
Well, yeah, but like there's so much of that... There's so... Yeah, I don't know, like... To go back to your earlier question about the British music versus American music, the big problem with British music is that there's this kind of... I don't know, there's like the mod stuff, which is just muck,
Yeah.
And it's just lads who know like 3 or 4. No, I mean, it's a weird one because you have like the Ramones who only know 4 or 5 chords, and all their songs more or less sound the same, but all their songs are pretty good. And then you have someone like, I don't know, I can't think of any of those terrible bands, English bands. They all think they're the Arctic Monkeys, but they know 3 or 4 chords, and they think they're as good as the Ramones, but they're absolute dog shit, but they're liked. And I always found that there was this weird relationship between Britpop and Dublin as well. That like, there's so many Dubliners who are into that very English music. West Brits, basically, Whereas outside of Dublin, people are like, what the f***, not listen, what, that's shite. What are you on about?
Yeah. It's an interesting one, but it's like, Irish culture's so odd in that it's so kind of saturated in both American culture and UK culture.
It's strange, isn't it?
It's like 2 countries, in a sense, brought up in Coronation Street. You know what I mean? There's that kind of that thing that nowhere, like France isn't watching Coronation Street. It's like it's so ingrained in Irish thing. But with this kind of also background hum of fuck the British. 600 years, which is that's way less than it used to be, and all that.
What's mad as well is that like in Ireland we have this. I'm not there anymore, but there is always this impression Ireland really punches above its weight regarding music and output and all that. But like, you ask anyone in Poland, like, can you name any Irish bands? They'll tell you, what's their name? U2 and the Corrs.
Right,
that's
the Corrs.
The Corrs, yeah. The Corrs were massive here. The Corrs were massive everywhere. Sure, they're so radio friendly,
Yeah.
But like, just Irish bands don't travel well, like outside of Ireland at all.
I suppose you have the Cranberries. Even Tin Lizzy didn't travel. Like, I mean, they're huge, and but they never broke America. So, but like,
no, they couldn't break. No, Jesus,
James
tried,
Hetfield's favorite band. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, someone was listening to them in America, but it wasn't. Yeah. Boomtown Rats, kind of. They had their
England,
15
yeah,
minutes.
Nowhere else, like
Yeah. U2, I suppose, were the only kind of. But we Clannad, of course, Jesus, which were the biggest thing in the world.
I suppose, people would actually know Clannad here, all right, yeah. There's a Polish band who do Irish music. Polish-Irish band, an Irish, I don't even know what to fucking call them. But they have a mad name, they're called Carrintoohil.
Oh, right.
Which is the biggest mountain in Ireland. No one can say it.
Right.
I mean, like, fucking hell, pick an easy word, Call it the Dublin people.
Wicklow Mountains.
Yeah, exactly. Something easy, The Loud Massive.
Coolly.
I remember, did I tell you this? I saw, they used to do this, Tauron is like a big petrol company here, right? They're like the Polish Shell. And they have a fairly good image because they put on lots of concerts and arty stuff all over the country. But they used to sponsor a massive music festival down in my area, and they would have like the alternative 3-day music festival. But part of this thing is that in one of the cities around it, they had an Irish festival always on the Sunday. So I used to go to it, and the first year I rocked up to it, there was me and my Italian buddy, and I had old like Guinness shamrock hats and a big red beard, and they still use our photo for the PR for it. It's mad. Every year we get to see ourselves being advertised. It's funny. Although they've stopped doing it now, but up to. But anyway, we were sitting there, we had a pint, and next this trad Irish band are playing, and we thought they were all called Johnny O'Neill, and they're all from the back arse of nowhere in Mayo, and then they stop and they're speaking in Polish, and holy shit, like it's really bizarre for me that Polish musicians fucking love this Irish trad music, because we, in Ireland, we're like, oh God, here we go, I have to listen to this shite, But they were brilliant at it.
Other than one guy in your class, mad into it.
But then, right, we had just heard the tail end of that song when we got the pints, sat down, had the pints, and next thing they launched into, go on, what was it? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. And I was like, holy shit, Fabrizio, this is like a proper IRA song. Like, I was looking around going like,
you get thrown out of pubs for singing this one.
Exactly. Like most people don't know the words of the song because it's offensive. Kind of. You know what I mean? It's mad.
It's not offensive. It's volatile. Let's put it that way.
It's not offensive, but it's like it's an IRA, a proper IRA song. You know, like kill the Brits, kill them. It's mad. Yeah, it's this Polish band, and I'm sitting there going like, do these lads know the significance of it? And yeah, of course they fucking do. Like, they must do, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to pick up that song just, in an Irish ballads book. 50 Irish classics.
Bizarre. I've seen another one as well in a pub on St. Patrick's Day, and they were amazing. They had uilleann pipes and everything.
Right.
Fucking fantastic solo work. Not a word of English. Right. I was trying to talk to him. Not a fucking word. Couldn't speak a word of it.
Probably fluent in Gaelic.
For shame. You, Murphy, and you can't speak your own native tongue. No. Mad. Absolute mad. You know?
Yeah, it's an odd one. Cultures are weird, like, isn't it? It's almost as if we're all the same species and race and that we, have the same interests a lot of the time.
But it is weird because, like what we think of as like traditional Irish culture, even traditional, say, Polish culture, obviously where I am now, it's like the food that's seen as traditional Polish food now, like that wasn't 50 years ago.
Right, yeah.
And it's the same in Ireland. In Ireland, it's traditional Irish stew. Well, okay, all we ever had to eat was stew because we were so poor. But like, we don't have it. What we think of as tradition is like 100 years old, maybe 200. It's something like even Irish dancing. Irish dancing's not that old.
Is it not?
No, it's not.
It's that someone in the 2020. I'll come up with something.
Yeah, well, kind of, more or less. It's kind of like from stuff that was found, and then it was kind of brought back as something else, and then there was a whole ton of rules stuck on it.
So it was basically, there was some sort of dance, and then some guy decided, I'll make up what I reckon it was, and
I'm going to rule this. Yeah.
So it's basically what they did with the runes, where they found them and went, let's do something with them. Yeah. That's interesting.
And sure, isn't like the whole kilt thing in Scotland? Okay, fellas would wear tunics into battle. That's normal across all cultures who had fights. So all of them.
All of them.
But the kilt thing was brought back in the 1800s by some cloth manufacturer. He's like, let's and it's true, it's documented, but they look cool, so fuck it.
Isn't it so interesting that like women wear skirts and men wear trousers, when I mean atomically it's like so much should be the other way. I
know when I wear skirts it's far handier.
Is that what I was trying to interrupt you as is my wont for the evening? Is the Spud even native to Ireland? I assume it's not, because it's
Walter Raleigh brought potatoes from Argentina or something, didn't he? So like before Walter Raleigh, Irish people used to eat grains and oats. Oat is a grain. They used to eat lots of
fish, I assume.
Oh, Jesus, what are those things? Groats. You ever eat groats? It's a type of grain as well. They're horrible, tasteless shite. They're like really big couscous grains.
Oh,
they're just bland.
Bland, yeah.
They're not nice. You have to put a sauce with them always, And Irish people are very healthy. Milk. Everyone had a cow.
I thought there was that big thing that says people didn't eat dairy until very recently. Like that can't be true. Is that one of those vegan things? Vegan lies.
They're like, I think they were like domesticated before dogs were.
Yeah, I think probably you could probably make an argument that we didn't drink or eat as much dairy, and it wasn't as huge part of our diet. We definitely have been doing it for a long while. Like,
oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of, the people said, that's why there's so many people lactose intolerant now, because it's such a new food. I don't know. See, this is the whole thing that comes down to, like, you can read the stuff and it can appear as science, and you go, that sounds interesting, and it's all lies. Like,
what though? A lot of cheese, like if we were eating lots of cheese, which people were, most cheese, any cheese that's aged doesn't have lactose anyway.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so you can eat mountains of cheddar if you're lactose intolerant, and it won't make any difference to you, because the lactose evaporates or whatever the fuck happens during the making of the cheese.
Well, lactose is just essentially it's the sugar, isn't it? Like in the milk, like.
Yeah, I think that's right. And anyway, you can even buy stuff now. Like if you don't have to, you can buy the milk anywhere. But if you were lactose intolerant, say 10 years ago, you can buy this little vial, a chemical thing, and you just put that into your milk. And I think you boil it together, and then that gets rid of it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be arsed. some water.
I'm not supposed to, but I do. But it's only since the young lad is as well. So we do buy the lactose-free milk, like. And
yeah, we went through a phase of drinking the cashew milk, and it's just like, so expensive, but compared to milk. But it was lovely, and it really, I enjoy this more than real milk. And whenever we got back into just drinking normal milk, skim milk, and then we said, oh, we'll get, for special treat, we'll get the cashew milk, and we got it. I was like, yeah, that's disgusting. But it wasn't disgusting, but it's still lovely. Cashew milk, of all of those milks, it's definitely the nicest, I think. Lovely in coffee. But it's just, you get so acclimatized to it. And it's the same way when you go from full fat milk to, say, semi-skimmed or skimmed, that then when you go back to full fat, you go, oh, hold on, what's this?
Yeah, what was I doing? Idiot. Huh?
But you know, if you just have your 1% or whatever it is every day, you just, that's what milk becomes very quickly, you know.
Watery, white muck. It's not, I don't like it.
You just put it in to colour your tea.
That's not a thing here. Only pregnant women do that. It's only England and Ireland, strange. Man, that put milk in their tea. In some parts of India do it as well.
Right,
but,
right.
Nowhere else.
Oh, America, I assume, put milk in their tea, but they don't do tea that much.
Don't mind them.
They're really only fake British anyway, isn't it? Or not, like something. I don't know what my joke is.
Wouldn't it be mad?
Sort of insult anyway.
Wouldn't it have been a mad world if Benjamin Franklin had decided, because it was pretty much his decision, what language they'll speak? Because it was almost French.
Yeah.
It was almost French.
Oh, was it? I thought I heard German.
Yeah, it was nearly French. Well, there's a lot of Germans over there, all right, because they all hightailed it after World War One and between the two wars, and then after that one as well. But French was the what's lingua franca? So they thought they'd go down that route, and then they decided not.
That's because that's what Canada did, isn't it? Essentially, to have the dual. I think it's mostly speak English. So in Montreal, is it Montreal or is it Quebec? That's French, isn't it? That's what.
I don't remember one of them. Yeah, but I think Canada's a bit different now because I think they just had like fuckloads of immigrants from France,
right?
Rather than what the Americans had, you know.
But French is the national, like
French is one of the national languages. Yeah. Be cool.
Right, we've babbled for half an hour as it's all.
Have we?
Yeah.
How do we fill in half an hour with so much?
I don't know, because I always think, do we need a topic at all? We could just probably talk for an hour. Safirion was sending me a message going, lads, you're great and all that, but could you just maybe start the conversation of whatever he's going to talk about by explaining to the people what you're actually talking about, rather than just assuming that everyone knows what you're talking about. And I think we are very guilty of that. Just going, yeah, so what do you think of Crowley? And then people going, I've never heard of this man before. Could someone explain him to me? So, not putting you on the spot, because I'll do it if you want, but do you want to kind of give an introduction of who Madame Blatvatsky is?
Trying to look for her name here firstly. I have it so
maybe read the first paragraph of Wiki or something.
It's Helena Petrova, isn't it? Helena Petrova
Petrovna, I think. Blatvatsky.
Blavatsky. Yes.
Blavatsky, is it? Blavatsky, yes, something.
Blavatsky.
HPB,
which is HPV is the vaccination thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the vagina cancer, isn't it? There's a lot of penis and vagina stuff coming from me today. I'm I apologise profusely. This is what happens when two things happen when I'm hungover. I get really, really hungry or horny. And horny.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that ye have to be here for this. But like I was going to say my mother-in-law. The mother-in-law is still here, as in my mother.
Yeah.
So, the frustration. Anyway, she was a Ukrainian lady from Ukraine.
From the Ukraine.
From Ukraine. Not the Ukraine. There is no the Ukraine. There never has been the Ukraine. It is Ukraine. Stop.
Why did that happen? Why did that? Because in the documentary, the definitely said the Ukraine.
It comes from. So the word Ukraine is actually a Polish word, which means Ukrainia, and it means from the country.
From the
no, I mean, it means from the country.
It basically means culture, is it?
No. Well, kind of. It means, but it can also be translated as borderlands. So because the Polish Empire was massive, right? And the Russian Empire is obviously fucking huge. But in between the two of them were these people who weren't Polish, but also weren't Russian, but were Slavic, but never really had their own nation. But they were a separate people, you know?
Right.
Like down where my mother-in-law lives now, just after World War II, there the war kept going between the local Polish and the local Ukrainians, because the Germans had promised the Ukrainians, "We'll give you a country if you side with us." So like lots of Ukrainians did fight with the Nazis, but then after the Nazis were defeated, they wanted to keep fighting because they're like, well, you know, we were promised something, we're not going to get it, and everyone's like, well, fuck off, the war's over, and they're like, no, we want a country, and so they kept fighting with the Poles for 2 years, and eventually Stalin just had to step in and just say, come on to fuck, will you? And then he starved them. Prick. Nice. So there's a little bit of history for you. So she was from Dnipro in Ukraine, and she got the name Blavatsky because she married a lieutenant in the army or something like that, and she only stayed with him for 6 months or something.
Yeah, a year. She literally said, "I'm marrying you for your money," and then a year later went, "Bye."
Yeah, see ya, bye. And no, but who is she? So she is basically responsible for collecting fuckloads of old teachings and putting it all together, and then she put it out as books and teachings and stuff like that. And it's basically, she was kind of the first woman who put it all together and kind of packaged it as like one thing. So it basically, it's her fault if you're into anything esoteric.
Well, that's what I mean in the West.
In the West, yeah.
So if you've ever heard of a chakra, or you've ever heard of energy or the etheric or auras,
even yoga, there was no yoga
or
in
yoga or
her.
any of these things, it's because of this woman. Yeah. The
mean,
entire New Age is her fault.
Yeah, the whole thing is all her fault. And like, I mean, so watching those couple of things that we watched, there's Who Are You, Madam Blavatsky?
Which is that's a Russian documentary that was shown on Russian TV.
And it's English. The English dubbing's over. It's kind of distracting, but you can get through it. There's another one called Spiritual Traveler, and what else? There's another one.
Well, the one, which is the one that with 5 minutes ago just turns into Spanish for no reason whatsoever.
Is that one?
I don't know. It's just like yeah, and then everyone's speaking Spanish. You go, what? What's going on?
There's another one from Theosophy UK. I watched some of that one as well. And there's one about the essential teachings of Helena Blavatsky and Rudolf Steiner, which is interesting too.
The actual Theosophical Society have hundreds of videos and recordings for free if you do want to get into it. It's just like the whole massive section of media on the website of all different, and they're still very active, doing more videos kind of constantly in lectures and stuff like that.
It's kind of mad how she found her way into it though, isn't it? Like
Uncle's library when she's quite young.
Because she was young, because like, well, the Ukrainians, they're still like this. They're quite occulty anyway. Shamans and stuff. Not even shamans, but Ireland has this too. Like if you have a sore back, or if you have fucking ringworm or one of these rashes or shingles or whatever, like, okay, most people will go to the doctor, but a hell of a lot of Irish people will go to the healer woman 2 villages over and give her 20 quid or whatever, or buy her shopping or whatever. A lot of people don't want money. They'll just take gifts and shopping and stuff like that. So Ukrainians are still very much into this kind of their pagan roots and all that. And so she was supposed to be gifted in clairvoyancy and in things like that. And she made a couple of predictions where people were like, "Whoa, okay, yeah, you got the gift, girl." And so then she married her man, and then she went off traveling, and she ended up in London for a while, and then in India then, or Tibet is where shit really kicked off, wasn't it? Tibet, sorry, no, I'm wrong. Tibet is where she learned a lot from the masters.
Claims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in India then was where that should have been really the seat of her power, but she fucked up. She really fucked up. We're going too far ahead though.
Yeah. So basically she's her early kind of life, she was kind of an odd child and blah, blah, blah. But she got in, as I said, she got some money, so she went traveling, but she got in with a guy who was doing kind of mediumship or whatever, and he seems to have been a kind of like a stage magician thing as well, which is now a lot of kind of her criticizers say that's where she learned an awful lot of the tricks then the later, like the apportation, if that is a word, where things appear from nowhere and stuff like that, like letters and bells chiming and stuff like that. So they think that she could learn some of that kind of stuff, and then others talk that was kind of an influence of like circus type, carnival-y type things as well. But whatever, she's she seems to have shown at least some sort of gift, whatever, at an early age, and seems to have been a real kind of very interested in all of these, you know, in the whole kind of why is life the way it is? Why are we here? What's the kind of, you know, what's the point? You know, what are we doing here? And so it's like when she kind of, I'm not really sure if I can't really remember. Maybe you can tell me when her first kind of contact with this. It's in when she's at this kind of pre going to America though. It's this year of travel, a couple of years of travel where she's supposed to have had all of these adventures, and she gets in contact with the White Brotherhood or whatever. Isn't it? That's the period, isn't it?
Yeah. When she was in London, and then she started saying that she was getting these visions from the Brotherhood, and they were all called Mahatma M, Mahatma K, or Mahatma Q, or whatever their names were, 3 or 4 of them. But she would have these visions during meditation, and they would reveal to her secrets of the universe or whatever. Now, it's a bit like with Hermes and how his book or books came about. He had visions, and he met the angel of God or whatever, something like that. And yeah, so he gave him all this information. So like, she might have just got it from the same source, or she might have been having these things. She probably wasn't really having, but you never know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, so she decided with this, what was his name? Roger something, wasn't it?
Can't remember.
Her whatever. No, what was he? It was kind of like the opposite of not normal, but the opposite of what you usually hear. Like the artist usually has like a female muse. He seemed to be able to get the best out of her, you know?
Yes, yeah.
And so he suggested that, right, I think you should go to Tibet, because this is where this brotherhood were supposed to be from. And there's another thing about them as well. They would only show up to people at times when there was great change about to come on.
We needed to help, that kind of a, yeah.
You
And
know?
just to clarify, what these Mahatmas are, they're big masters of wisdom, or they're ascended masters, they're also called. And it's basically perfected humans or perfected beings. You know, they've gone through all the different incarnations, learned all the things, and have, you know, ultimately become what we're all meant to be becoming. So
yeah, because isn't there a thing that she believed, or she wrote, that humans, we're the 7th version of humanity, something like that, because the first humans perfected sight, even though half us wear glasses, so perfected senses, the different senses. So when we're the 7th iteration, and we're on
the
our way.
7th, I think it's the 7th root race, isn't that what race puts? And there's this kind of, which is the kind of accusations then of racism that gets thrown at her, in that there seems to be a kind of thing where she's saying that maybe African or black people, whatever the thing is, from a lesser root race than what white people are, and which is that's problematic, you know,
at the very least.
At the very least. But and that there's, you know, there's the whole Aryan thing as well. But she uses Aryans in a different kind of way than the Nazis do. Although because she predates obviously the Nazis, that whole thing is influenced and, you know, brought into the Nazi thing. But there is a good case, a very good case, to make that she's you know, her teachings are, you know, racist, like in that kind of, because of this root race thing. And it starts with Lemuria, which is the kind of civilization that predates Atlantis. And so that was where the first humans kind of emerged. And there's this kind of idea that, she's not really into evolution. So it's like that, you know, the way we have it, that first was sea life possibly, and then it moved to land, and then, you know, it evolves to humans. Whereas kind of the human comes first, or the human idea, or the plan, or the blueprint, or, you know, that was first. And then the world was set in motion, and plant life and all that came after. So although humans don't appear until, you know, 10:30 Saturday morning after millions of years, from a theosophy point of view, they existed before all of that. And it's not that we have moved, it's like kind of maybe the physicality has moved to the point where, you know, the vehicle of the human body can be is acceptable now, you know, that needed the evolution, but it's that it predates, which is it's kind of a, I don't know, that's not what the fossil record says. You know what I mean?
Kind of nonsense.
The best brains that we have wouldn't agree with it. Put it that way.
See, the problem with a lot of this stuff, and it was with Hermes as well, and I should have picked up on it then, is that, like, okay, cool, so we're all here to figure out our life paths, and to do our best to achieve that. And if we don't, then, we'll sit there beside whoever, St. Peter or God, and have a little chat with us and say, see, look there, when you were 13, that's where you went wrong, man.
Yeah,
you need to go back and do it right. Oh, grand, okay, all right. What about the fucking dinosaurs, Tommy? What about the fucking dinosaurs? Okay, we're like allowed into this little house of spirituality where we can ascend and descend and become gods and masters of our own universes. But no, fucking dinosaurs, all they could fucking do is eat each other and spinach. That was it. They had no fucking attainment of godship, What the fuck,
I mean,
man?
there is a kind of a thought that runs that, that the animal kingdom will eventually move up to the human kingdom, that everything is spiritually evolving in that kind of way. But then there's also a notion that the door to the animal kingdom has been closed for a long while, so that there's no new humans being made. It's like...
You see the problem, and as well, right? Okay, if that evolution thing is going on, that the minds of the spirit of the animal, they evolve and then they become... Okay, chickens are what fucking T-Rexes have turned into. Like, that's a massive failure on everyone's part of who was involved there. Like,
Yeah.
Chickens.
Like, I mean, it's like a lot of it does. It's like a lot of it doesn't make sense. Okay, but the thing that they'll say is just, it's from our perspective, it doesn't make sense, but it does.
Of course,
and because we see things in a linear fashion, whereas of course time is not linear. It's just that's all that blah blah blah. So I mean, there's an answer for all of these things, but.
I'm just having the crack.
I understand. I'm not convinced by theosophy by any sense. But what it's interesting, though, that I have found going back again, because I was huge into theosophy at one point, because one of my kind of early introduction to any kind of spiritual stuff or whatever was very quickly theosophy, because that's and then kind of Alice Bailey stuff, because that's my auntie was the first person who kind of wasn't a Catholic. And I was going, what? There's other things? Tell me all the things. And that was what she was into. And because theosophy is very much presented as capital T truth, and as divine wisdom, in that it's a channeled wisdom from the masters of wisdom. And, it's seen as an authority. It's not kind of, let's have some speculation what could be better. So this is the way it is. So the kind of, when I left kind of Catholic thinking, and it's all, there's obviously still a lot of that embedded in my head. There's a lot of theosophy still buried in my head as well, because of, the kind of formative years or whatever that I came across it. So that kind of idea of this, trying to become the perfected person or whatever, I don't think I've ever really truly let go. That I think that probably is something that is true, even though, like, there's a huge part of me that goes, no, well, that's definitely not true. There's a bit of my psyche that won't let that go. Yeah. And so there is that kind of a approach.
But I mean, look, I if you boil it down to what theosophy is, it's the search for knowledge, and that's only a good thing. But I mean, I just kept seeing similarities between it and Hermeticism. Really, just loads and loads of stuff. And even though they don't have the slogans of "as above, so below," and all that kind of thing, I mean, it's like probably stuff like that wouldn't have come back into occultism and all without her. You know what I mean? Because
definitely,
like I know that the Medicis during the Renaissance, they found some of Hermes' old written tablets or whatever. They were translated into modern Latin and then into Italian. But then sure, it disappeared again. And then through people like Madame Blavatsky, stuff that's been brought back again. So yeah, it's only a good thing that she was doing all these things and looking like, even if it's not like occulty stuff where she's like doing seances and whatever, and you might be into that or might not be into it. But for me, it's that like she was just trying to accumulate knowledge of philosophical knowledge.
Yeah.
The big questions: why are we here? What are we doing? What are we supposed to do? How do we find our true path? How can we achieve our goals through spirituality rather than by plus as well, like, she lived in different times. She didn't live in a materialistic time like ours when we're told you can buy your happiness. Like
pre-Bernays.
pre-Bernays, But I suppose during her time it would have been quite different. I mean, she travelled the world and seen all these different cultures. Growing up in Ukraine certainly wouldn't, or rural Ukraine certainly wouldn't have been anything like that. And then like moving to London, maybe it would have been a bit more materialistic, but it also would have been the class structure would have been a huge thing for her, kind of when she was there and struggling to fucking eke out and meet the right people and stuff like that. So I mean, I like the documentaries until the Indian stuff, and then I just went, ah man,
Yeah.
man, what were you thinking?
Yes, do you want to explain that?
So, her main thing for her teachings was, as we said, so she would do meditation, and she would have the visions, and then she would channel it, and someone would write it down, or she'd write it down, whatever. But they had this. Herself and that Roger fella, I think was his name. They had a.
Is this Alcott you're on about?
Yeah.
The
guy with the big, mad, awesome beard. They had a headquarters in India because they went to after she had done her studying in Tibet and learned. It's what sounds like transcendental meditation and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. They set up in India because they wanted to. Bring back these teachings to people, and rather than to try and convert the silly brown locals to Christianity, they were like, no, you are right. You guys have it going on. I'm just gonna bring it back to you, But then she would have these. They would ask questions of the masters, and then suddenly a fucking little handwritten letter would appear in this conveniently placed kind of letterbox that was in the middle of a wall, which wasn't in any way connected to her bedroom. Oh no, definitely not.
Yeah, not exactly. Like it's like the next room. It's literally connected, and this is the stuff that you kind of go like. There seems to be a thing that in an awful lot of these kind of situations, and Gordon White goes on with an awful lot of different points out, and I think it's an interesting thing to speculate on, that there seems to be, within things that seem to be true and things that happen, like say like the Enfield poltergeist case, where there seemed to be really weird stuff happening, but then there was a compulsion in the kids to also do fake stuff. And they were asked years later, why did you do the fake stuff? Because, well, I don't really know, we can't really explain it. And there seems to, in the history of kind of, I suppose, seances or mediumship or poltergeist or weird stuff, there seems to be this kind of mad mix of weird stuff going on and then embellishment. Whether that's weird stuff and then you're trying to get attention, or weird stuff that kind of makes it want you to fuck up in some way so that people won't believe you, whatever. But it seems to be a recurring motive for team in a lot of these things. So that when
this is why Gordon White's gone cuckoo bananas.
Well,
no comment.
His last post is fair enough. He says, if you're not into it, don't listen to my podcast. Just don't complain to me. I go, that's fair enough. But it's an interesting thing then with Blatvatsky, in that there seems to be, the word is a port, isn't it? Am I pronouncing that right? Where things appear from nowhere. That's a great rabbit hole to go down, is looking at these objects that have, not just hers, but loads of different kind of things. There's some very strange ones, like old kind of batteries that are thousands of years old, or
sure, things like that, yeah.
Well, that's more out of place objects, I suppose, rather than these things. But anyway, these kind of letters that come from nowhere or whatever, and there seems to be two type of qualities of them. One where there's the particular paper and ink that doesn't go through the paper and this kind of thing, and then other ones that are, obviously written by, well, I'll fucking tell him if he thinks he's going to ask me this question. Masters of Wisdom said you're a spa. So there seems to be two types of things, and I don't know why that seems to be a thing that happens, but it seems, like, just because, I suppose, let's not throw everything out just because, she obviously used the thing.
See, the thing that I don't really get about her is that why, like, she could have just sat there and gone into a trance and done automatic writing or stuff like that, and then could have gotten out the message. And whether, let's just say she was being spoken to in her meditation, I don't know about you, but I've had mad meditations where, like, there's definitely something going on that I don't know where it's coming from. So she could have done that, and her believers would have believed her. Of course they would. The naysayers are always going to be naysayers anyway. Okay, maybe you can convince them, but I don't think that a little handwritten letter appearing in a box on a wall is going to fucking convince anyone, especially when your fucking bedroom is behind it. But,
well, I think that the kind of answer to that is that why didn't she do that is because, like, the believer's answer is because that it was an actual thing that happened, that the letter came from the masters, so that she had to then follow that plan. If she went into a trance and said, oh, the master said you're an idiot, Go, well, why didn't they write to me? Because they write to everyone else. So that was kind of the setup of it.
Ah, that's why. Okay, I missed that
So
bit then. But like
thing.
that's.
But the
I
other
mean,
thing just about the thing is it's not just in a meditation or whatever. She claims she's met these actual people, the thing, and the masters themselves don't claim to be spirits. Like they're actual people. Like one of them, Dwal Kul, is a llama farmer. Like he says, it's not just that we're here sitting around in some sort of chamber or some sort of, palace just going, what's Spud up to today? Can I help him? Or, what's the political system in France? Do I need to do something? It's like they have lives as well. They have to incarnate as actual people. And there's plenty of people in Theosophy who have said that, they've met them, that they've suddenly walked in. Alice Bailey herself said that Kuthumi walked in into the room, and that's how she knew she was being selected or whatever. I think she told him in nicer words to fuck himself, but like the thing. So it's more than just a meditation kind of thing. Although there is that element to it as well, like that kind of a thing. But they're seen as real people, not necessarily just like a discarnate voice or a thing. It's an actual dude in Tibet who is an Indian, not a Tibetan. And who has incarnated back, and who at some point sent letters with postage stamps too. It wasn't just this kind of. But the cabinet thing seems very suspicious to me altogether. It seems a bit too.
Well, yeah, especially because like two of her employees were like, we definitely wrote them, like definitely.
Yeah, but they were they're problematic in that they kind of went against her, and one of them was thrown out of the Theosophical Society. And that one of the complaints was to a Christian magazine, which kind of has to cover it a bit. Yeah. Now, that's not to say it's not true. It's just that it's suspicious, equally suspicious as the appearing letters are suspicious. Yeah. But there's lots of stuff going on in the letters where the people were promised to be the new Buddha of Mars, and all these mad promises. Again, give me your money. Let's keep this going.
It's going. See. That's the kind of bit where it's not that it lost me. I still think that her gathering knowledge and looking for, the secrets of the universe or blah, 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 whatever, all these kind of things. I think that's great and fair play to her, but she just made one or two mistakes in the way she did it.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it was. Like the book, what's the book called?
The Secret Doctrine.
The Secret Doctrine. So there's one from...
Well, she's Isis Unveiled, she's the Voice of Silence, and the Secret Doctrine.
The Secret Doctrine is meant to be impossible to read. It's meant to be very dense.
There's two parts to it. One is kind of the history of the universe, and one is then what you do with it. And I've attempted to read it a number of times, and then the best I could do was I quick read it. I got the gist of what it was saying. But like all of the books are impossible to read, particularly if you get into any of the Alice Bailey stuff later. They're very heavy.
Yeah.
That kind of lofty language, like particularly well written, but it's just like kind of you read a paragraph and you read another paragraph and you go, oh, I haven't been paying attention for two paragraphs. That's
what the hell's going on here? Like words are going in, but it's like your man Steiner from last week.
It's the same, but it's the same style. It's the same without the kind of excuse that you come up for him. It's without the translation issue.
Yeah. But your man, we mentioned before, Manly P. Hall, he gave a talk about the book, and what's his name? I have it here open. Brian Scott. Brian Scott, the podcast, he's a podcast, isn't he?
I don't know.
Anyway, Brian Scott's 100,000 something people on YouTube. People know him. He's into spirituality and all this occulty kind of stuff. He has up on his YouTube where he reads it out. So Manly P. Hall is taking questions from a lecture. And I think there's 100 questions about the Secret Doctrine because he was supposed to be an expert in it. He was a theosophist as well.
Right.
So that's quite interesting. So it is. But like, there's loads of things that are wrong in it because he's asked stuff like, how old is the Earth and all that. And like it starts off, well, in cosmic terms, we can't really say how old anything is really because time is... all about perspective. But In
6,000 years old.
Yeah, no, he says I think it's 25 million or something.
Right. Okay.
And even your man Brian Scott jumps in and he's like, "Yeah, look, I've checked this a couple of times to make sure. Like, it says million, definitely not billions."
Right.
So, I don't know. Like, I don't think she was talking to anyone, to be honest. I think she was just hearing stuff in her head that weren't, Indian Tibetans talking to her or masters at. But like I say, I mean, if she's just given everything else that she did was great, to be honest. Yeah. From what I saw, anyway, from these couple of documentaries I watched, even though they are very pro documentary.
There's a book called Madame Blatvatsky's Baboon, which is an odd name, but it's a complete debunking of her, and it's a real anti kind of like in how much. So if anyone wants to get the converse kind of version of it, that would be the book to go for. I read it years ago, and it's very, meticulous, and it goes through, and it's not taking any of her shit whatsoever, But then you can read reviews about that, and it's a flawed piece of work too, and some of it isn't true, and all that stuff. So it's hard to know. One of the things I really like about her is that she used to love fried eggs with a half a block of butter on them. I thought that's exceptional.
Girl, I like that. Yeah. Proper rural Slavic girl. I like that. It's but like without her, we just wouldn't know so much. There would be no yoga in the Western world. There'd be no modern occultisms, really. Without her. So. It's all thanks to her that through her research and finding books and finding stuff to write about and just new ways of thinking. There would have been no Golden Dawn. There would have been no Crowley. There would have been no reality transurfing. Everything goes back to her.
Kind of does, yeah. What's her dates? It's 1850s. Is it mid 1800s?
Yeah, I think she died 1880 or 1860, something like that. Was it? I don't remember. I'll look it up here quickly.
Yeah.
Blatvatsky. 1891. So Golden Dawn is like 30 years later, isn't it? 20 years later. So
no. Golden Dawn's 1890s. I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah. But anyway, it's fairly if it's not predating it, it's contemporaneous to it, and there's definitely an influence on it. But yeah, even like things like chakras and the etheric fields, and there was rays which didn't take on as much into New Age as other things, and this kind of these notions that everyone is kind of on a different ray, and there's different kind of qualities to that. There's 7 rays, and Alice Bailey gets into that kind of stuff. But Theosophy has been such a huge influence, even after that, because you have obviously things like Steiner, but you have people like Annie Besant who she meets towards the end of her life, who then that directly leads to Krishnamurti, which is huge figure of the 20th century in kind of spirituality. And loads of different kind of things. Like it kind of lost a bit of favour over the years, but it's back as a fairly kind of legit society now that does stuff and all that. I don't know what I make of it. Like, it's hugely influential on me, hugely problematic.
But do you have the same thing as me then? That it's just well, for me it's Hermeticism more in a more modern kind of way.
Yeah, but there's more. Wrong? No, you're right. But there's more of a kind of a thing on. From my reading of it, it's more cares about group than the individual. That it's more about the evolution of humanity rather than the evolution of Spud. Whereas Hermeticism is kind of about how you can get through that kind of thing. Yeah. So there's like a lot of, it's more about the race and the overall kind of thing. And and their ideas of reincarnation as well. It's a thing that people kind of overlook at reincarnation. It's like they're saying they're kind of, and which is the proper kind of reincarnation. It's not that Spud reincarnates. It's some element that's in Spud reincarnates. But it's like you're never coming back, and you're the unique thing, and there's never going to be a Spud. And when Spud dies, Spud dies. But there's so, and I mean, and the way to know that is because if reincarnation exists, you can't remember your previous lives, and so, and it's not, I don't know, Mary, the handmaiden from 1600s Ireland that you were in your previous life. Whatever you learned from that kind of thing, whatever, is what you learned, and you bring that with you, but you don't bring her love of flowers or her her disgust of growths or whatever it is. It's that's I think is. I think we kind of have a weird kind of idea of what reincarnation is, in that we think, again, and I think it comes back to the whole notion of that people are wanting to escape from this life and wake up to their real life. It's like I want to unplug from the matrix so I can get to my real life, or I want to, get out of simulation, or I want, to be, get off this flat earth and go back to God or whatever. There's this kind of notion of there's something wrong here, and the real thing is over there that I have to get, that carried into reincarnation, in that my real life is somewhere else, or my real person is somewhere else. And there's kind of, in theosophy, there is that, obviously, but with a focus on, no, you're here, this is it, sort your own life out. Don't, stay in which I think is good.
Well, yeah, it's man up.
Yeah,
man up and enjoy it.
It's not even necessarily man up, but it's like stop wanting to be somewhere else.
Okay. Be here now. Live in the now, like kind of thing. Yeah.
And but like the Christian thing of you're rewarded great in heaven, or this is all for the next life. So no, this is your life.
Yeah.
Somewhat. I mean, and then there's the whole kind of woo-ness of theosophy, where you're evolving towards being a master, and eventually you will be the world leader of a planet, the way Sanat Kumura is our world leader at the minute. Did you know that? Who voted for him? It's a bit like the Irish government. Who voted for him?
Who's this? What?
Yeah. So yeah, he's the master or whatever. He's the soul of the planet. Sanat Kumura, or some sort of pronunciation. He's another master of wisdom. Her master was Master Moira, and the guy who helped her write the books was Kuthumi. And he comes up in an awful lot of fiction work and stuff like that. You see him mentioned a fair bit. And then the other kind of younger master who Alice Bailey comes to is a guy called Dwal Kul, who's DK, Master DK. They usually go by their initials. So you have Master KH is Kuthumi, Master M. Right. There's Master Jesus and there's Master Christ, because there was two souls incarnated in that body.
Okay.
It's just, it's like, I don't know. All of that stuff leads to the New Age, and it gets watered down, and the bite's taken out of it, and it's made all fluffy and light, and life is great. Because I mean, if you have the secret lodge of the Great White Brotherhood, awesome. You also have the secret lodge of the Great Black Brotherhood, in a kind of a non-racist nomenclature. Like it's the good and the bad. I know we have kind of weird kind of dichotomies of that, but it's like that. It implies or infers a negativity by having like people who are here at times, who will incarnate at times of great stress, or when humanity needs them. Then you would have to go, well, so do the other dudes, so the other guys. And you don't have any of that in New Age. It's all, like, even angels are the most amazing things in the world. Not the things that bring plagues or kill children or, cause floods. No. They're here just to help you find your locket that you lost.
Yeah. Sorry about the whole Egypt thing. Big misunderstanding. It's just, we fucked up there, So like, wait, no. So she didn't believe in a bad a badness.
No, she did. No, she did. She did. I'm just saying that didn't translate into the New Age.
Okay.
That kind of got exercised out of theosophy in that they took all the nice stuff or whatever, and that's what you kind of have to know. She was.
So maybe there's like levels of it, where it's like the Freemasons, and the further up you go, you're like, shite. I have to eat fucking semen shakes, don't I? Fuck's sake.
But Crowley was also...
bad magic? Come on. I don't want to put a curse on him. I like him.
Well, you see, they wouldn't see it in those kind of terms at all. It's not like that kind of stuff. Crowley, he called them the secret chiefs rather than the White Brotherhood, but it was the same kind of idea. And it does, I suppose...
I saw you got asked a question on your Facebook there about, is the 40, could the 40 servants be used as... I even looked up the name.
Cliffot. Yeah.
It's like the bad Kabbalah.
Yeah, it's Cliffot being, I think it's broken glass. It means broken. It's so when that, which is the missing tree of life element, it's maybe I have this wrong. This is my memory of it. It breaks and then it flips, and there's a mirror kind of image, and it's like Lilith is one of them, and that kind of stuff. If you're interested in that, Thomas Carlson's book, as I point to it somewhere, is great. It's great on that kind of thing. But it's the opposite of the tree of life, I suppose.
That's awful. I like the whole idea of the tree of life. I think it's great. you know, and I think it could be very useful for people. But now that there's an opposite one, they don't like that. That makes me sad, Tommy. It makes me sad. It makes me kind of scared.
Like, you know, by living
scared.
on this planet, that it's not all good.
I know it's not all good.
And it has to be. You have to have a cosmology that's representation of it, and we don't really. We have a kind of a, you know, in I suppose, our want to believe that the world has our backs.
Right. Yeah, I suppose it's just that I thought, because the thing is with the Kabbalah, you can learn.
But the
you
thing
can learn
is,
loads
not
about it,
everyone is a believer of that, you know, or would have the Cliffot as part of the Kabbalah. Like that, it's
right.
not necessarily part of everyone's Kabbalah.
It's just I would have thought that there's enough balance in the Kabbalah as it is, like, you know, because you have the different sides and the different paths, and this is this and that is that, and too much of this is this, and okay, why do you need it? Why do you need an evil? Why do we need evil shenanigans here? We didn't ask for this. Why are you bringing black magic into this? Fuck's sake,
the question, at the oldest question in the world: why does evil exist? Why does it? Like it seems the most. If we live in a universe, or if we've incarnated in a universe, or whatever it is that, you know, as a kind of a learning, or as we're here as, you know, playthings of the gods, or whether we're here as entertainment, or whether it's a dream, or whatever. Why does evil exist? Why is there so much pain and suffering and all of those things? And I don't think we have a satisfactory answer, other than, you know, we go, oh well, God fell out with this guy he once created, you know. He
who wears snappy suits.
But he punishes bad people, but also good people if the
That's a fair point. Yeah, I don't. I try not to keep myself awake at night thinking about it though, because I'll just annoy myself. You know, nah, just try and be good. What I try to do. I don't know if my ma sees it that way though. God, it's 4 months now, Tommy. Almost 5.
Man. She was only there for 2 weeks originally, wasn't it?
She was only going to be here for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, it's amazing how the lockdown experience has been so different for so many people. It'll be like, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was going, think of the amount of amazing albums that are going to come out next year. Because like 1991, landmark albums come out. 1971, you have things like Led Zeppelin 4. In 1961, you have Elvis, stuff like that. So 2001, we probably, you know, not only are we Jewish by the kind of weird way we make dates, but also had 3 months of musicians sitting at home writing songs, you know, going through hell, or going through, you know, prosperity or peace or loving, whatever kind of lockdown they had. So there's a lot of great books going to come out of this, you know. But what your experience is going to be, you just spend 4 months with your mum.
What did she give out over yesterday? Yeah, she came out. We had mates over yesterday, and we were having a barbecue. And I was talking to the Irish lad in English, obviously, and Aga was talking to her mate in Polish. And Ma kind of got the hump, she's like, she came in and she was cleaning up. I was like, "You all right?" She's like, "They're only speaking Polish." I'm like, "You're in Poland. Like, you do know that, don't you? Like, you've been here 4 months, Ma. You're in Poland. They're going to speak Polish. This is her house. Like, she speaks Polish. Do you know, like my wife. I don't know if you know that, but we're in her country. Do you know? It's just ridiculous. Like, you know, I don't understand the way her mind works. But anyway, whatever. I really hope my relationship gets better with her. I really do, because I don't want to be one of those people that falls out with their parents as they get older. I hate that shit.
I think,
you know what I mean?
if you've been able to spend 4 months without actually killing each other, I think it's a testament to your relationship, to be honest. I can't spend 4 minutes with anyone without wanting to kill them, without wanting to kill me. So, you know,
even me, Tommy. Even me. Oh, Tommy.
You know what I mean? Like, within 4 minutes, you go, "Oh no, he's had his stuff again. Look at that woo." Like, you can just see the woo falling off him. The only way I could get you to stay in my company long enough was by completely brainwashing you and indoctrinating you.
Here's Spud. Here's an angel. There. Go talk to her. Oh, she was standing over my bed all last night. I woke up a load of times last night, and that thing was there looking at me. Not looking at me, because she won't reveal herself, Tommy.
Is there a connection between that and your penis size, possibly? Someone looking at you all night. Look at the size of it.
Apparently the Roman goddess Minerva died a virgin. She was chaste. And so maybe she's... I don't know. It's weird, like, because... there's that Irish woman. What the fuck is her name? Byrne, is it? Lorna Byrne or something. She has books about meeting angels. Like she
yeah.
sees angels all the time, and she knows what they look like, and she's met like some of the hierarchy, Gabriel.
She's on the Late Late Show. You should watch that. You'd find that
hilarious,
infuriating.
infuriating. Whatever she does. But like, and any of the HDA stuff that I've read, where the face is revealed or whatever, they're like terrified of it. So I'm like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
sure.
cool, yeah. If you don't want to show me your face, that's grand. I don't want to get scared. Like, it's grand. You don't have to do it because I'm just thinking of you now as a Roman goddess. You have your big shield and your owl and your arrows and shit and coin. She's on the old 100 lira coin, the Italian coin.
Oh,
so
no
I bought loads of them, and I'm going to leave them around the place. Give me a good look. I'll send you one, actually.
Oh, do actually? Yeah, you should carve sigils into some of them.
Carve the stuff into the coin. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do, though, I know, because there's already stuff on the coin. It's not a blank coin, like, it's a modern coin. I know. It only went out of circulation at the euro.
Yeah, but like deface them and like two faces.
I'm not defacing Minerva. How dare you?
Okay. One last thing about
this is what you get for brainwashing me, man. This was fucking all your idea. You know what I mean? You go into Tommie's house. There's a secret room he won't let you into. It's just voodoo dolls of Spud with fucking angels in weird positions.
And really small penises on these. The final thing about Madame Blatvatsky is she died age 59 of the flu.
Yeah, she had a flu, the poor thing. Yeah. Shite way to go.
See, that's the thing. More cultists die of the flu than they do coronavirus.
There's well, I'll give you a quote here I found on our Wikipedia page.
Please.
So it says Blavatsky's writings garnered the materials of Neoplatonism, Renaissance magic, Kabbalah, Freemasonry, together with ancient Egyptian and Greek or Roman mythology and religion, joined by Eastern doctrines taken from Buddhism to present the idea of an ancient wisdom handed down from prehistoric times. So, I mean, that's great, I think.
Yeah,
she just takes all these different things, put them all together, and get something out of it. Sure, why not? Like, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. As long as you don't put pineapples on pizza, then everyone's all right. Pretty much. I guarantee you, from all the learnings that she did, there was no fucking pineapples on pizza.
She's too busy eating blocks of butter and her potatoes.
I like her.
Was the pizza in those days? I'm sure there was.
Oh, there was, yeah. Pizza's been around an awful long time since the Roman army. They used to eat it when they were camping and stuff. I looked up stuff about the societies and all that kind of stuff. Like, what's your kind of a take on these things? Is it just groupthink that's not worth it, or
join in occult clubs essentially? Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a joiner. Yeah. I joined one once and I hated it. Only because they're so badly run, most of these things, and it's like I was part of the Lucis Trust, which is Alice Bailey's thing, and they're doing one nice thing which I really like, this thing called Triangles, which is at 12 o'clock every day you think of two other people, and they think of the two other people. So you have these, obviously, triangle of thing, and you say this kind of prayer. It's a great invocation, it's called. It's a nice prayer. They had to change it recently because there was problematic wording to it. So it's like kind of had to make it a bit more PC. But I kind of like that idea, that kind of thing. We're just making a point of every day of just making, sending good thoughts out to people like that. So I like that kind of group kind of stuff. But then, if you say you join the Theosophy thing or you join whatever it is, it's another one of those things where you're just labeling yourself and go, oh, that's what I am.
Yeah.
And now, so I can't be, I'm a Theosophist, but today I feel a bit like a Satanist because I'm into Antlevate. Oh, you can't because you're a Theosophist. You have a card, your membership card, you pay your dues, that's a you. So I would probably, if there was, I'm sure there is one in Dublin, but I would happily go and, maybe go to a couple of lectures and stuff like that. But actual joining the society, I would need to 100% agree with every single thing that is. And I'll never find that.
Exactly. It's like me reading this Telema book. I'm like, oh yeah, this seems fucking decent, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then it brings up these ritual stuff, and I'm just like, nah. No. You had me, and then you lost me, because I'm just like, do you really need to stand in 5 different places and do things with your finger, making circles and triangles and whatever? If you do it and it works for you, grand, do it. But I'm like, because, Tommie propagated chaos magic into me, I'm like, well, actually, no, I can just do that sitting here. I don't need a wand. You know what I mean? Yeah,
but as Jason Miller says, you should always try the things as described at least once.
Yeah, there's that too as well. I suppose, but I suppose you can do your own version of it as well. Instead of doing a pentagram or something, just give a wink. Oh yeah.
Well, there was the laughing banishment, which is the one from Lieber Null, where you just laugh at it. Like it's
All right.
you know. Do you know what you should? I advise everyone to go to YouTube at some point and have a look at laughing yoga. It starts off as just going, "Oh, this is super strange," and then it's really, really funny. It's just it's basically people force laughing as a yoga, and it grips people. And Alan Watts actually does it in one of his things, and he's a great laugh. It's like you can't help but just laughing at the absurdity of it, and then just generally just getting in on it as well. But
it's great when stuff like that is caught. But there wasn't a thing from the Tube in London a few years ago. People spontaneously laughing. The whole thing starts laughing. It's brilliant.
Oh, cool.
And there's a great Elvis track. Fuck, which one is it? He fucks up the recording loads of times. I think it's is it Love Me Tender? I think it's Love Me Tender. And he's breaking his shit laughing. And it's impossible not to laugh at it. It's just joy of just laughing, just going, I'm a fucking retard. I keep making a balls of this. But it's hilarious, and you just end up laughing along with it. It's cool. That's magic, Tommy.
That's it.
There.
That
bit
is
of magic for you. I haven't joined Telema yet, though. I don't think I like what do they call AA? Is that just AA? A triple dot.
Well,
what's the name?
It's the Silver Star. It's the Argento, whatever the other word is. It's not to be mentioned though.
Because that's like a meditation club. What I'm reading about.
Well, the AA is, well, I mean, you can join an AA, but Crowley, as far as I can gather, seen it as the actual order of, the Secret Chiefs, the Great Lodge. It's like it's not people gathered together down the local town hall or community centre. It's the actual structure of how this planet's run. So, and to join the AA is you only know the person ahead of you. Yeah. And he only knows the person ahead of him. So you don't know the organisation. So to actually join like the local AA, that's how it's meant to be. But so I know people have joined and think it's fantastic. But that's more, a bit like the Golden Dawn stuff, I suppose. That's more coursework and learning, and it's like you're going to a university, like you're doing the Open University occult thing. More, like the AA. The AA's reading list alone is, Jesus, it's extensive, and all of that kind of stuff. So I mean, I'm all for doing courses and correspondence courses and all that kind of stuff, which I think the AA probably more is, even though it is an organisation. Wait, do you think? Are you looking? Have you a calling to join something?
I think that because he talks about both of them in the book. The book's really good. I think it's great. I'm only 60 pages into it or something. I think it's really good. Kind of lays it out and says, right, this is Telema, this is AA, but I'm a psychologist, so since all Crowley's died and since all this has kind of ended, well, okay, it still goes on or whatever. But since then, we've had Carl Jung and other psychotherapists and psychologists. And so he puts a kind of modern thing on it as well. And says, right, well, okay, well, you do this ritual because it invokes this. But, from a psychological point of view, this is really what you're doing. So it's, okay, yeah, cool. All right, I get that. So if it was like that, I'd consider it all right. But I don't know. But it's like Aunt Tommy, who the fuck has the time? I've so many books to read all as it is.
I can't even keep up with Damien Eccles' Patreon, never mind joining the AA. God's sake.
Exactly, yeah. No, it seems interesting because I like it that it seems to me more of a spirituality thing than a ritual and going to meetings and basically going to church. You know what I mean? Just watching fellas in robes do stuff. No, I'm not for that.
Yeah, I think that's mostly the OTO type stuff. Yeah. Which is later in Crowley's life. Yeah,
but the AA stuff was like, once you do the conversation, the guardian angel, you're like, you jump up ranks and stuff like that. Okay. Like the sound of this, Mr. General Spud Murphy, huh?
I can feel a visit from Coranzon in your future very soon. He'll
shit, I've had that. All right. That's fucked up.
Right.
Holy shit. Yeah. He was in, I had this thing of a big yellow wheat field.
Right.
And there was this kind of, this thing jumped in the distance and then got closer and closer and then went Wah! Right up in my face kind of thing, and it looked like there's an image of someone who drew the Joker, but it's done in kind of this like a smoke outline where he doesn't really have a form, but you can tell it's the Joker.
Yeah.
It looked like that freaked me out, man.
Right.
No, okay, I'm awake. I'm out of here. Good luck. Bye.
Have you got as far as Alan Chapman talking about his encounter with Kronzon? And because it seems to be there's a time element with it as well, because I suppose the Saturn connection. It's quite creepy. It's quite weird. Are you still reading that?
Yeah.
Books, yeah? The Alan Chapman ones, or have you paused?
No, I'm on a break from that. Pause that. I'll come back to it all right, though, because I want to learn more. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff, you know. Thanks, Tommie. You can go off now and fucking point shit into more voodoo dolls, and what the fuck are you going to convince me of next week?
Yeah. I have your voodoo doll in a wheat field, and I'm just blowing incense smoke at it. That's
joining Aleister Crowley's fucking religions. Next thing I'll be wearing robes and me trying to get Iga, come on. We just leave our keys in the vase as we walk in the door. I don't know why. Everyone else is to be grand. Don't worry about it. Fuck you, Tommy Kelly.
Just could convince her. Well, we have to do it, you know, the other way, because I mean that's more effective magic. I mean it's not that I'm kinky or anything, but like that's just how it is from now on.
What are you baking at 4 a.m? Not semen cakes.
Yeah.
No.
Go back to bed.
Bye bye.